I used to rule the world. Seas would rise when I gave the word. Now in the morning I sleep alone. Sweep the streets I used to own. I used to roll the dice, feel the fear in my enemy's eyes, listen as the crowd would sing. Now the old king is dead, long live the king. One minute I held the key, next the walls were closed on me, and I discovered that my castle stands upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. Now hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, once you're gone there was never an honest word. But that was when I ruled the world. It was the wicked and wild wind, blew down the doors to let me in, shattered windows and the sound of drums. People couldn't believe what I'd become. Revolutionaries wait for my head on a silver plate. I'm just a puppet on a lonely string. Ah, who would ever want to be king? Now hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know Saint Peter will call my name. Never an honest word, but that was when I ruled the world. Oh, now I hear Jerusalem bells are ringing, Roman cavalry choirs are singing. Be my mirror, my sword and shield, my missionaries in a foreign field. For some reason I can't explain, I know Saint Peter will call my name. Never an honest word, but that was when I ruled the world.
Hey everyone, Joe Zealand here, and let's talk about Viva La Vida played on the acoustic guitar. First of all, as a kind of disclaimer, both the cover that I've done as well as this tutorial section, they both refer to how Chris played the song on acoustic guitar originally. Most notably, Chris did an interview plus 2 or 3 acoustic versions, acoustic covers on the Howard Stern show. And I think that was during the Head Full of Dreams promo tour, so around 2015-16. Recently, Chris has played this song in a different tuning, and I have already done a video on that, and that tuning just briefly is E, A, C, G, B, C, and then the capo is really high up on the 7th or 8th fret, depending on whether you do or don't want to play it in the original key or play it exactly the way Chris has played it. I will put a link in the description below, but once again, this video refers to the original acoustic version. And if you look at the tuning alone, we see a lot of flat or sharp cymbals, depending on how you look at it. That alone tells you that the tuning is quite far away from standard tuning. But I do want to show you at first that we are in fact not that far away from standard tuning as you might assume. Alright, so this guitar is in standard tuning right now. And the tuning that I'm about to show you is actually a variant of the Us Against the World tuning, which is why I put that in the thumbnail as well. And Us Against the World is not that far from standard tuning. Check this out. So if you want to play Us Against the World, you want to tune your G string down to G flat or F sharp. And now the B string down to A. So we only have to change the tuning of 2 strings. That's still quite manageable, right? This is essentially already the Viva La Vida tuning. Problem now only is if we play these chords now that you might have already seen in the first part of the video, we're not in the key of the song. We're still 1 semi-step too high. Because right now this would be an A major, which you can play like this, or the way Chris plays it. This is still A major, right? Because we haven't done anything with our low E string. So this is still an A. But the key is not A, but A flat. What Chris did, I'm using past tense here because he doesn't use this tuning anymore. So what he would do is take this tuning, this Us Against the World tuning, and drop it 1 entire semi-step. So each string now has to be tuned 1 semi-step lower. So not E, but E flat, not A, but A flat, not D, but D flat. This is tuned to F sharp now. You want to drop it another semi-step to F. The B string, which is already tuned down to A, you now want to tune down to A flat. And now the E string, you also want to drop it 1 semi-step to E flat. Now I've prepared another guitar. There it is. It's the exact same tuning, just dropped down a semi-step. And the same chords that I've already shown you, they still work. Now let's look at our main chord sequence used in the verse, and along with that, the corresponding strumming pattern. We're starting out with what looks like bar chords. Well, they're actually power chords, 10, 12, 12. And again, use palm mute on your strumming hand to basically mimic the staccato effect of the strings. Oh, and by the way, one more thing. I will refer to these chords as they look now. So this I'm going to call a D5, even though on the actual scale, it's not a D, but it's a D flat, right? We've dropped our guitar 1 semi-step, but I will still, because I'm only gonna get it mixed up anyway, so I will just call the chords by their look now. And this looks essentially on a guitar fretboard. This looks like a D5. So D5 into E7, open low E string, and again 12, 12. Well, actually it's an E sus4 7, suspended fourth, and our 7. First kind of notable difference between how Chris plays it on acoustic guitar, used to play it, I should say, on acoustic guitar, and the overall harmony in the recorded version. Chris now plays an A over C sharp here, 9, 12, 11. In the original, it's a clean A major. So 5, 7, 7. If you just saw my cover and already checked out the chords, you might have noticed that at some point I do change that up, especially when more instruments come in. And final chord, F sharp, 5, 2, 4, 4. And now as for the strumming pattern, it's really straightforward in the verses. If you know Viva La Vida, the strumming pattern is Viva La Vida, right? That's the rhythm, the dum 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 da dum dum da dum 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 da dum dum da dum dum. And if you translate that to guitar, that's all downstrokes, so nice and easy. What I do though to mix it up a little bit, to make it not so rigid in a way, is I add these quick semi-quiver down and up stroke transitions between every two bars. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Kind of subtle there when you go from 2, 4, 4 back to 10, 12, 12. Moving from this verse part to the chorus, both in Chris's live performances and in the version that I've done, I think it's nice to kind of slowly transition from this palm muted strumming pattern to the more open chords on the last round of this riff. Discover that my castle stand upon pillars of salt and pillars of sand. So yeah, we're already introducing the chorus chords there, and that is this more full A major chord, 5 with your thumb on the low E string, and then 7, 7, 7 on the A, D, and G string. Actually, you can also make this chord, because it is a little uncomfortable to play, you can also simplify it, ignore the low E string, start on the A string, open A, 7, 7, and open B and E string. So much easier to play, and sounds almost exactly the same. And then we move to not F sharp 5, so not a power chord anymore, but a full chord. 2nd fret on the low E string played with your thumb. 4, 4 on the A and D string, and then open strings. Moving on to the chorus, starting on another chord that looks like a power chord. It's played as an open chord, 5 on the A string, 7 on the D and G string, and then open strings. E major, open low E string, 7 on the A string, 6 on the D string, 5 on the G string, open strings. Now A major, which I play like this, and Chris plays like this, and F sharp minor. Chris, he switches this up to 2, 4, 4, 2. Now looks like a normal F sharp minor in a way, but it is not an F sharp minor now. Which makes for this really interesting sounding chord. And the way it works is this. Kind of going along with the melody. Right? Alright, now for the strumming pattern. Obviously, in the chorus, you don't really want to play palm mute anymore. You want to open up the strumming pattern. You want to lift your hand and play a regular strumming pattern. And you also don't really want to just use downstrokes anymore. But we do keep the general rhythm. Check this out. Once again, not just downstrokes anymore, but now down up strokes, right? Now I'd like to talk about some general differences between how the band and also just Chris by himself play the song and the recorded version, most notably in the chorus. The chorus has 4 rounds generally of these 4 chords, except for the bridge. The idea, kind of, the feeling is that the song only has 4 chords, right? These, however you want to play them on guitar, but it's this D chord, E, A, and F sharp minor here, right? And the chorus, we play the same harmony, we just play different chords here. But this feels like a song that only has 4 chords, right? But if we actually look at the song and actually analyze it, it does have more than 4 chords. So we don't actually just have 4 rounds of D major, E major, A major, and F sharp minor. In the third round of the first and second chorus, the third chord is not an A major, but it's actually, I typically play it like this. And this comes actually closer to the actual harmony. I don't think it's an A over C sharp. I think it's just straight up a C sharp minor. In the original key, that would be a C minor. And then we go to F sharp minor. So we do have this variation.
For some reason I can't explain, once you're gone there was never an all.
And in the fourth round, we go back to D, E, A, F sharp. And interestingly enough, this pattern changes in the third chorus, where on the third round, we stick with the simple 4-chord harmony, and then on the fourth round, on the final round, even though the bass is dropped out there, we can still hear the strings in the bass section play that variation. If you're a purist, a Viva La Vida purist, and you do want to stick with the original harmony, that is something that you should keep in mind. Once again, which the band just never play live. Obviously, don't need to say that. That's their prerogative. We're in the realm of cover music here, so you can play it however you want. Final aspect, the bridge. We kind of go back to palm muting here. I've played a mix of palm muting and open chords here. You can also play the 5-7-7. I don't know, but I prefer this, just a more clean D chord. And then Chris goes back to 2-4-4, which is the natural harmony. It's just D major into F sharp minor. I kind of prefer this though as the second chord. 4-7, so we just drop this from 5 to 4. Strumming pattern wise, we keep our Viva La Vida signature rhythm here, so dum 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 dum. And then final round, the only time where we switch up the rhythm, and that is That's all I have to say about this. Once again, I know that this is not how Chris has played the song live. Recently, I have put the link to that video in the description below. Also, do let me know in the comments down below if you have any more questions about Viva La Vida on acoustic guitar, either this version, or feel free to ask me about the other version as well. Thank you so much for your support. I really, really appreciate it. And folks, I'll see you on the next video. Joe Zealand, out.